Hello and welcome to Policy and Politics with me, Tarun Nangia. Today we have a very interesting topic and a very interesting show. The topic says Bihar today, Bihar tomorrow. And why do we say this? Unless and until Bihar develops, India cannot develop. Bihar needs to sort of grow and catapult itself into a high growth performance area for India to develop. We have seen till today the labor from Bihar can be seen in Kashmir as well as Kerala. And without that labor going, many of these states come to a stop because it has provided labor to India all through. There is another side of Bihar where the country's foremost IPS officers, IS officers come from the state, and that has been historical. In the past 50 years, seen when some of the most eminent bureaucrats coming from Bihar. So now on the industrial front, a lot of people who live outside Bihar say that if Bihar was developed, they wouldn't go out to work. So is that industrialization happening? What needs to be done so that money can come into the state? We will discuss all of this, including the history of Bihar and more, with a very eminent guest. May I first give his introduction? I want to welcome Mr. Nikhil Kumar. He is somebody who has a great illustrious history in the state. He himself has served as a Commissioner of Police Delhi. He is an IPS officer. Then he served as a Director General of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police. He also served as the Director General of the NSG. Then he went into politics, became a Member of Parliament from Aurangabad constituency in Bihar. He also served as Governor of two states, 15th Governor of Nagaland and 19th Governor of Kerala. But since we are talking of Bihar, his family's contribution to the state can't be not spoken of. He is the son of Satyendra Narayan Sinha, who was the Chief Minister of Bihar and a 7-term Member of Parliament. And his mother was a Member of Parliament from Vaishali. Her mother's name is Kishori Sinha. His grandfather, Anugrah Narayan Sinha, was known as Bihar Vibhuti and the first Deputy Chief Minister and Finance Minister of Bihar and an eminent Gandhian. Joining him with us is Advocate Vaibhav Mishra, who also has a political lineage. He is son of the Railway Minister Lalit Narayan Mishra, who also comes from Bihar. So he has, in a sense, political roots and is a lawyer in the city of Delhi. He is an advocate on record at the Supreme Court of India. Welcome both of you. Thank you for your time. And sir, I am honored to have you on the show and to know about the illustrious history of your family. It is indeed that you are a product of a family that has given so much to India. First few words from you and then I'll ask questions.
First of all, thank you for inviting me here. And Vaibhav spoke to me about this show and I found it to be very impressive. So I readily agreed. And in the odd few minutes that we spoke before we began, you mentioned to me a galaxy of names that had featured on your program. So it is some kind of a, I would say, privilege to be here. And thank you very much. About my family, I don't know what I should say because I myself saying about my own family looks a little odd. But yes, since you asked me, my grandfather was Dr. Narayan Sinha, and as you rightly said, he was given the title of Bihar Vibhuti. In fact, 3 gentlemen from Bihar, all politicians, they were given these names. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was called Desh Ratna, and our very first Chief Minister of Bihar, Dr. Shri Krishna Sinha, was called Bihar Kesari, and Anugrah Babu was called Bihar Vibhuti. Mr. Anugrah Narayan Sinha had a very crowded political life. But the first time that he came to Bapu's notice was during the Champaran Satyagraha. The indigo plantation and the planters, it is because of them that the agitation was torn. Bapu was not aware of what was happening there in Champaran. And so every time people went to him and said that come and lead us, he wouldn't know. But finally they persuaded him to come, and he chose 6 people from Bihar. This was 1917, to accompany him. Rajan Babu was there, Anugrah Babu was there, Shambhu Babu was there, and 3 others. My own feeling is, and I'm very firm believer in this, that the Champaran struggle, the Champaran agitation, was the first step towards India's independence. Why I say this is, it was the first time that any agitation was based on non-violence and satyagraha. This team that Bapu led in Champaran stayed there for some time, about 45 days, if I'm not mistaken, and they piled up a report, and that report formed the basis of finally the Bihar government agreeing to their demands about resolving disputes between the planters and the kisans. So it was in 1917 that Anugrah Babu came into politics, public life. He then continued to be in politics. He had a crowded schedule. He and Rajan Babu together went all over Bihar and even elsewhere. They were, of course, in the Congress party. It was during Anugrah Babu's term as secretary of the Congress party in Bihar that the All India Congress Committee held its session in Gaya in 1921-22. It was a historic session because it was there that there were differences in the Congress party. On one side there was Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das and Pandit Motilal Nehru, and on the other side were Jawaharlal Ji, Sardar Patel, and of course Bapu. So they felt that the right way to pressurize the British into giving us independence would be by a separate party, not the Congress, and they formed the Swaraj Party. It was a great initiative, and that decision was taken in the Gaya Congress. It went on, as you all know now. Bapu managed to convince them that will not be the right way to move ahead. So finally, it was given up, this party, and later we had the dispute then was whether we should ask for the dominion status or should we ask for full independence. So finally, at the Calcutta Congress in 1929, it was decided that it would be full independence. And so in all this, the activities that led to this particular session, Anugrah Babu played an important role. He was very close to Bapu, who wanted him to come to the center in the AICC as a secretary, but he chose to stay behind. When the first elections were held under the Government of India Act of 1935, Congress won a majority seats in Bihar, and the choice of the then Prime Minister, as you know, those days it was called Prime Minister, not Chief Minister. It was the toss-up between Shri Babu, Dr. Shekhar Sinha, and Anugrah Babu. And Anugrah Babu said, let Shri Babu become the Chief Prime Minister. So he did become, and he became number 2, he was Deputy Prime Minister. His whole career in pre-independent India was as an activist of the Congress Party. And as a result, he was imprisoned 4 times.
This is your grandfather.
That's right.
Right.
And then finally in 1946, when we had an interim cabinet in the center, things began changing. And finally in August 47, we became independent. And Anugrah Babu became the Deputy Chief Minister in Bihar, and the Finance Minister, Agriculture Minister, and Labour. So he continued to be there till 57 when he passed away. That was he. Incidentally, he was also a member of the Constituent Assembly. Both he and his son's father-in-law, meaning Samdhi, they were both members of the Constituent Assembly. And I had occasion to go through the debates of the Constituent Assembly, and I found both of them speaking in the Assembly, which I found very interesting. But anyway, after the Constituent Assembly finalized the Constitution, elections were held. First, of course, the Constituent Assembly functioned for 3 years, 26 November 46 to 26 November 49. And it was in 1950 that it was adopted, it became a republic, and there was a provisional parliament. Finally, 2 years later, the first election to the Lok Sabha was held, and in the states also. So Anugrah Babu won his seat in Bihar, and his son, my father, he won his seat in Lok Sabha. My father became a 7-time member of the parliament, Lok Sabha.
7-time Lok Sabha. So that's like 35 years in parliament.
Well, yes. And this would be excluding the 2 years as a provisional parliament member.
Yes.
That was way back in 1950.
That now brings me to a follow-up questions. You are sort of one of the founding families of post-independent Bihar. In post-independence India, when Bihar came into existence, your family gave it direction because your grandfather and father had prominent roles. Before I go to Vaibhav, I want to take this quick comment from you that when you see that Bihar has given the best IS officers who are basically administrators, IPS officers who do law enforcement, but the state itself has not been as developed as today, say Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or some other states. What do you felt went missing? What do you think should have been done? Because the state gives the best people to India, but the state itself doesn't develop.
That's a very good point you raised. Bihar from 1947 to 1967, 20 years, was a very well-run state.
Very well-run state.
Well-governed state. And I can't recall the name, but a certain British gentleman who wrote a book on India, and in which he said that Bihar was the second best administered state.
Second best administered.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Between 47 and 67, Bihar did a whole lot of things that we now cherish, and we feel that was golden period. There was the Tisco was set up, of course, in early 20th century. But when Telco was about to be set up, Tatas felt that it should be established elsewhere. So Bihar government then persuaded him, the Tatas people.
So Bihar was industrializing.
That was there. Not only that, both Tisco and Telco were in Jamshedpur, which used to be part of Bihar. Then we had the uh, Heavy Engineering Corporation, and we had other similar uh, industries. A very important part of Bihar was its coal mines, and the collieries there produced a whole lot of coal, and it helped Bihar. But Heavy Engineering Corporation, then Bokaro Steel, Tata, and so on. It is in the 47 to 67 period that Bihar also had modern refinery, modern at that time, at a place called Baroni.
Manoj,
Yes.
it's famous. One thing I want to, and then I'll go to Weber for his first answer. Your answer tells me that Bihar government was making efforts to bring industries in.
Yes,
Like now we see Maharashtra doing or Gujarat doing or Tamil Nadu doing, making efforts to bring in industry. That Bihar was doing in those years. I'll go to Weber. Weber, in your opening answer, I want to know, you have some political memory because of your grandfather being in politics and becoming the railway minister. So you have some institutional memory from the family talks and all that, how Bihar was in say 1975 and later years. If you could tell me as to what happened in the later years, because these days when we hear news, it is about bridge being built to nowhere or bridges collapsing, and no money, in a sense, investment is not at that level, and low per capita income. Do you think somewhere the state lost the way, and is it now making again coming back to the growth path in the recent years?
Thank you so much, Tarun, for having this program again. I'm grateful to Nikhil sir for being part of this. One small clarification: I'm grandson of late Shri Lalit
Yes,
Narayan Mishra,
yes.
Definitely, as well as that. You're right. The development index of Bihar was very high, and like sir said about a British man mentioning Bihar in his book, like was the second best state in the country, specifically speaking in the GDP index, if you can measure. How it lost its way, it's a very open debate what happened from the 70s till the 90s and later onwards. But if you see from whatever institutional memory I have, from whatever I've seen, heard, read, and from the work done by my grandfather and from the family itself, then afterwards my Chote Daji, late Dr. Jagannath Mishra, and then before him my grandfather, late Lalit Narayan Mishra. There was so much industrialization, Tarun, during the 50s and 60s, and the GDP index was so good that there's a very famous story, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think sir would know better on this topic, that certain industrial freight companies had setups in Bihar and they were more industrialized towards Bihar itself. There was some policy brought or some ordinance brought, after which those set up companies, industrialized companies regarding freight corridors and all, were then transferred to different parts of the country. I'm forgetting the policy's name right now, but it was I think it happened in 50s or 60s. I heard about this, and I think may have read it or heard about this a couple of times, that the industrialization of the state was so good in 50s and 60s, but due to that one policy or couple of policies or ordinances during that time, the industrial output slowly and steadily reduced after that time period. This is one example. Baroni, which was just mentioned right now, is quite famous for the industrial setup. I think some refineries are also in that area, if I'm not wrong. Used to be, maybe still be there. Begusarai was quite famous for its industrial setup. The Jamshedpur area, with regard to Tata setup like Tisco and all, was part of Bihar until Jharkhand came about. And like sir said, the coal mines were quite the go-to area for industrialization, and that was one of the main reasons for the resources and one of the main reasons how people earn their livelihood also. As to why and how it declined, the state declined, and the reason, I think political stimulations later onwards and the change in the political structure later onwards can be regarded as
So
one
you
of the
mean
reasons.
politics in Bihar was in the past 30, 40 years not conducive to development?
You can say about that from late 80s and then 90s onwards. I mean, I don't need to open
Yeah,
a debate.
people say
on
it was
this.
jungle raj. That was in the media.
Yeah, I mean, it's an open debate. I don't need to specifically say who was in power and what happened.
But you know what it is. Huh?
Everyone knows. I don't need to take specific names. But the fallout of that is what we see is the palayan in Hindi, which we say.
People went out.
People went out, and it's just not related to one community or one caste. People from all castes left Bihar.
But you know, all castes left Bihar. But very interesting question I'll ask to Mr. Nikhil Kumaria. Sir, the best administrators, IAS officers who go and administer other states, they came from Bihar, which means there is lots of talent. But within their own state, administration was in shambles, which means you have best manpower, but that is being used to govern other states, not the state itself. One more question, follow up. If I look at the GDP per capita of Bihar, it is $572, which is poorer than many poor African countries, which is the poorest in the world. One of the poorest countries in the world could be Bihar if it is taken as a country. And if you take Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, they are at 3,700 per capita GDP or 3,800, that range. So there is a huge difference. Was politics in Bihar so bad in the past 30, 40 years that it came to such a situation? And politics ensured that good people never come up.
I told you that between 47 and 67,
The best governed state.
20 years, it used to be considered the second best administered state in the country. But why did it happen?
Why?
It happened because there was complete uniformity of administration. There was just one party which ran the state from 47 to 67.
Single party.
Congress.
No.
And it was easier, and from 47 to 61, the chief minister was Mr. Krishna Sinha. He was followed by Pandit Vinodanand Jha. So these people were, especially Shri Babu was a great man, and he had the administration on his fingertips. Besides, he had earned for himself a certain image that people followed him, and the administration, the bureaucrats,
Listen to me.
they all did their very best. There are so many stories, little stories about how Shri Babu and his cabinet, including Anugrah Babu, he was able to set small little precedents which were later not followed at all.
Not followed.
One small point. There is question of postings and transfers of bureaucrats. If you are in the police, the IG police puts up certain proposals. The proposal goes to the chief secretary, to the chief minister, and the chief minister doesn't interfere at all. In one particular case, he changed the suggestion, the proposals. But when the chief minister, chief secretary, and the IG pointed out to Shri Babu that you have changed this, we must explain to you why we had proposed it originally. The original proposal was that someone who is from a district, he should not be posted there, meaning an IAS or an IPS officer will not be posted to his home district. So when you change it, the chief secretary and the IG told Shri Babu, then it will go against the principle. The person concerned that you are wanting to be sent to a certain district would be going to his home district. And remarkable thing was, even before the chief secretary finished explaining things, Shri Babu took the file into his own hands and wrote that I agree with the chief secretary and the IG and overrule my own notings earlier.
So you mean political leadership was humble enough to listen to advice?
It is this, and I can cite to you so many other instances where the politician in the ministers used to put a lot of store by principles, ideals, and the right course of action to be taken by the bureaucracy, by the government. Now, it is not so. As Vaibhav was saying, and you also mentioned, there came a phase in Bihar which is now talked of widely, like the Jungle Raj. So when you talk of investments in Bihar, people are scared to go there. They are scared that law and order there is such that it will not be possible for them to do business properly. When I was an MP, I spoke to Mr. Munjal, Hero Cycles. I told them, I requested them to come and set up at least an assembly point. And he just wouldn't listen to me. He said that, okay, we'll look into it. But quite clearly he gave me the signal that he's not in the mood to go to Bihar. And that is because he was scared. He was scared also because, not only because of Jungle Raj, but also because there was a rather nasty history of Naxalism, left-wing extremism. And South Bihar particularly, now South Bihar, earlier Central Bihar.
But tell me one thing, with a strong chief minister who wants law and order in place, do you think anybody can stop law and order from coming if the political leadership wants law to be enforced strictly?
When you see the present chief minister, he has done a lot to maintain law and order. But now we see off and on cases do occur which should not have occurred. And every time this kind of crime is reported, the cry goes up. Jungle Raj has come back. Jungle Raj has come back.
Point well taken.
So Bihar has got this unhappy image that it is a state where there is Jungle Raj. And people who should be investing in Bihar, they are scared. What needs to be done is to tell people from outside, investors, potential investors, prospective investors, that don't worry, we'll be looking after you. You come to Bihar and you will not have any cause of complaint. I don't think we are doing enough to persuade or convince these people to come to Bihar.
Point very well taken. I'll get this a Weber. When somebody comes with money to India, he's got 30 states to go. Why will he choose Bihar? Because obviously, if he feels law and order is a problem, then he'll go to some other state. Do you think a lot more needs to be done politically to ensure that money comes into the state, investment comes, and people are not forced to go out for work?
I think a lot is being done as we speak. In the past 5 years, specifically speaking, since this government has come about, and a lot of industrial development has taken place. Apart from tourism and trying to make Gaya a tourist hotspot, like a tourist circuit for religious tourism. Bodh Gaya was already known for it, but more investment is being done for religious tourism around the Bodh Gaya circuit. I mean, personally speaking, I was traveling towards South Bihar from Patna to Gaya Taraf, and I saw while on the highway there were billboards in Chinese and Japanese language. I mean, I'm not joking. I tried to figure out why are there billboards in Chinese and Japanese language from Patna to Gaya. Then I kind of realized that this is the way for people who land in Patna or may land in Gaya are religious tourists from Japan and China who are here for Buddhism for same reason.
So they're coming from Japan and China.
Yes. So this is one small example.
But I want to ask you something. Even on the Buddhism circuit,
Yeah.
if it was some East Asian country, there would be world-class infrastructure so that lakhs of such people could come from all over the world.
Yes.
But even that has not been developed.
No, I think there has been a lot of development in Bodh Gaya. Bodh Gaya is the Buddhist center.
Yes.
And over the past 10 years, hotels have come up.
They have come up.
And some of them are 5-star hotels and the others are 4-star hotels. And they are very well managed and they are forever busy. They are all 100% occupation.
Occupied.
Because these people who occupy them come from Sri Lanka, they come from Thailand, they come from Japan, they come from all these Buddhist countries. They come and they are very happy to spend time in Bodh Gaya. So both guys, I have said, is on the tourism map, no doubt
It's
about
on the
that.
tourism map.
And people do come. This is a big boon for Bihar. And the government
You mean
of,
it is a natural asset?
absolutely.
Everybody wants to come because of the geography.
Yes, yes. Because of geography and also because of the history, history of Buddhism. As far as Bodh Gaya is concerned, it is an important center for tourists. And these tourists are all Buddhists. They all come from Buddhist countries. And they're very happy coming there. And Bihar, Bihar profits from all this. But you're saying something else about tourism and other things. Carry on.
During tourism, Bodh Gaya is one example. Then there's Valmiki National Park, Tiger Reserve on the northern border, bordering Nepal. There has been a lot being done for
There?
create infrastructure and to bring that also to tourism map. Rajgir area is also being developed a lot. We recently had the Asian Women's Hockey Tournament there. I think another national sports event is going to take place this month as we speak in April. It's going to happen if I'm not wrong. I'll just small clarification that signboard. Now I remember I was going from Patna to Shekhpura, Barviga side. That goes up to Gaya side. So those signboards were there. Point being that you just don't need to be on the highway from Patna to Gaya. Even those roads which lead to that highway, the management of the administration is to this point so keen that there should be no untoward issues with the tourists.
That is important.
That is the detail up to which the administration
planning
has been done. Point being that industrial work is being done side by side. Tourism is also being taken care of to a lot
I
of
want
extent.
to ask.
I'll just add one small point Sir told about hotels. If you remember, we spoke about Taj coming up in Patna.
For the first time, a big change.
Yes, and I'll say why this is a big thing. 10 years before, 15 years before, if someone would say that Taj Hotel is going to come up in Patna, people would have laughed at our face.
You mean that change?
That in itself is a big thing that Starbucks is opening in Patna. And after Starbucks opening in Patna, we see huge lines of people.
So you mean there is things are changing slowly.
Yes, slowly.
I want to on law enforcement, because Sir has served as police commissioner, and can you share with us that if the chief minister gives total autonomy or empowerment to police officers, they can heavily clamp down and ensure that law enforcement and safety of women and those things are delivered on. Do you think that is possible, or it's very difficult? It's not that easy.
What we are talking of is police reform. It is a subject which is now being discussed everywhere in any forum. And this is because of a certain case filed, a petition filed in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court on that petition had ordered some changes, some steps. That was 1996. The most important thing in that particular case was police should be given autonomy. But this is something that is not coming.
Not come.
No chief minister would like to surrender his control over the police. At least this is what we want.
But while keeping the control, can law and order be improved?
By all means, because chief minister is the final arbiter of administration, and he chooses his own people.
So one thing that you hear a lot of people from Bihar saying, and I know quite a few of them, who live in Kochi in Kerala, or who live in Ahmedabad, or who live in Mumbai, or who live in Chennai. They say that women there at 2 a.m. from work, if they go home, they are safe. When they move out for work, they are safe at 11 p.m., midnight also. Whereas in Patna, it would be risky after 8:39 if woman alone goes out. Do you think that needs to be improved? Because investment comes when women are safe. Because
you're very right. There was a time, there was a certain phase in Bihar, and I go back to Jangal Raj, when streets of Patna were absolutely barren. Come 6 o'clock in the evening.
Nobody
was there. And some very fine festivals that used to be held earlier had to be given up. But now, happily, things have changed, and Patna is really bustling with activity.
Again better.
And there are women moving around freely. And the best thing that one I can, at least I know, and I admire it, is groups of girls cycling to their schools. And this is a tremendous improvement
That earlier, which was not possible.
is not there. And the fact that these girls enjoy themselves cycling to school, back home,
In full safety.
yes, it's a good step taken by the Bihar government.
It's a point well taken. I'll take to wherever one law and order, because they say wherever law and order is good, investment comes. Do you feel if this women's safety ranking is improved and the message goes out that whatever time of the day or night women are safe in the state, that will go a long way in, and because you also come from the field of law, do you think empowering the police to that extent that the chief minister says that no woman at any time, if she is troubled, then the strong arm of the law will come down heavily on those people who are committing acts of, they're troubling women, or, they are committing crimes against women. Do you think that is possible?
I'll just add to what Sir said regarding girls cycling to school. This is in rural Bihar. This
It's in rural
fact is in rural Bihar. In rural Bihar, girls cycling to a school is actually a big thing. That access to education, that access to school is a big issue. And if a girl is being provided by the administration, whosoever be in administration,
So this is happening in
rural Bihar, this is a very important thing. This was
Not
unheard
possible.
of earlier. Like when you speak of the period of Jungle Raj.
Huh.
Now a girl has been given a cycle to go to a school so she can get that access to education. That is a big thing. I personally was in Narkatiyaganj, which is in North Bihar. We went for a social program. When we did this program in a government school, the biggest issue which the students told us that we are ready to learn, we are ready to attend a class, but there is no teacher. There's one small issue.
That is changed.
That has changed slowly it's changing.
So you mean things
Technology-
are better than before?
Yes, slowly improving. I mean, time will take its
Time will take. But I'll take one.
if I may just add one more thing. I slightly disagree when someone says who's not living in Bihar or it doesn't come to Bihar quite often to say that even now, post 8:30, people don't come out or girls don't come out. I slightly disagree with that. Because if you go to Patna Marine Drive area, till 12 in the night or 2 in the night, you will see girls and boys having, like if you go to Bombay Chowpatty, Mumbai Chowpatty, similar to that, you see people eating. Although I don't like people making reels, Instagram reels there, but they do that also.
But one thing I want to ask
that's
you,
the liberty and freedom we still have at 12 in the night.
One thing I want to ask you, would you see in Patna, say working women at midnight coming from their office, then going for a jog and feeling safe about it, as you would see in some other cities, or simply, say in Mumbai, you'll see at 2 a.m. women going flower sellers. I mean, these are not even women in organized jobs, but because they have to reach a certain place. If you happen to go by a local in Mumbai at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., they'll be sitting with flowers because they have to go somewhere.
Yes.
Because in the morning 5 a.m. people who buy puja flowers will buy it.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of an ecosystem where women who are not from rich backgrounds, who are not driving cars, they are in public transport and then feeling that, because that independence to many is very, very, it gives a sense of freedom that I can go out and work and carry and earn my living without being troubled. It is one thing to go out in a car with your family and be in a certain place where there are 100 other people. It is quite another to sit in a bus or an auto or in a train and then be safe.
That ecosystem, I'll actually say, is there.
Achha.
If you go at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, if I take one example of Hanuman Mandir. Hanuman Mandir near Patna Junction. If you go there and if you see, today is Tuesday, when we are going to show, if anyone would have gone at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, that ecosystem would have been there around the temples. If you go to any temple in Patna at any place, that ecosystem would be there. People selling flowers, people selling mithai in the temple.
So you mean that
at 4, 5 in the morning?
As far as the capital is concerned, that is already there.
As far as the capital is concerned, because I lived in that capital in the 90s.
So you know how it was.
I've seen that Jungle Raj in front of my eyes after 6 in the evening, 8:30. If I say in Hindi, बहुत बड़ी बात है. After 6 or 7, we were told not to go out.
Even men of the house wouldn't.
Not to go out I'm thinking 95, 1996, 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
So I've seen that Jungle
In
Raj.
fact, one last question I'll ask Mr. Nikhil Kumar, because you have served as the chief of the police in Delhi. Delhi, its record in crime was also not that great. I mean, Delhi was also sort of unsafe, maybe not as unsafe as Patna. Do you think things have improved in Patna, and where do you think they all have to improve to be much better so that more money comes, it improves?
First thing, you alluded to the crime situation in Delhi not being very good.
Huh.
That's not true. Delhi is, there would be odd cases like in any other city, but otherwise, I can guarantee this women's safety in Delhi. There may be an odd case here or there, but by and large,
It is
Delhi
safe.
is a very safe city. As far as Patna is concerned, and for that matter, other cities in Bihar are concerned, there is a big improvement.
Already.
Yes, there is a big improvement in the movement of ladies, women. If you drive on any highway, say from Patna to some other district headquarters, you will see women there
And
by the roadside doing something or the other, or just walking and doing their own thing. So this is a big improvement. I have no doubt about that. But somehow this image has got stuck that Bihar is unsafe. Bihar is,
so you mean it is a perception issue?
it is very much a perception issue, and I must clarify here that this perception is not with reference to the current administration.
It's earlier.
It's an earlier thing. The point is, if you are trying to run a state in a manner that will invite investments, then you must also promote a perception that it is safe.
So that money can come in.
Absolutely. And there have been efforts made to invite industrialists to Bihar and persuade them to invest. Present Chief Minister has taken this initiative.
One small question, Mr. Nikhil Kumar, I want to know from you, since you have a political history to your family. Do you think caste politics was principally responsible for taking Bihar backward, and now that is changing now?
No, it's not changing at all. In fact, it has become
more entrenched?
It has become far more, I would say, noticeable than earlier.
Okay.
Yes, the fact is that we are actually a democracy, and democracy means elections, and elections means votes. And if you want to get elected, you must have a certain caste base. And Bihar is notorious for that. The caste system in Bihar is really...
It is difficult to take out? Not that easy.
No, I think difficult to,
Difficult to eradicate that caste?
Oh yes, I think I'm not very sanguine about the caste system going away anytime too soon. It is so deeply ingrained that it's difficult, and now it has become part of the political ethos.
That is a bit saddening.
Yes, very much so. In fact, I won't go into the details of...
you don't need to give me details, just a general observation.
But it's a fact that casteism is the bane of Bihar, and at least I don't see any signs of casteism going away.
Not going away. Point very well. So this was an interesting discussion with his illustrious IPS officer, Mr. Nikhil Kumar, obviously governor and member of parliament both, and we had also Mr. Vaibhav Mishra.
Can I just add one small before we wrapping up? When I mentioned Patna and Mumbai, of course Mumbai has its own history and its own legacy. So if I say people can still roam around at 11 in the night, 2 in the night, of course it won't be a Juhu Beach kind of comparison, but still we are moving towards it. Now the similarity between two cities is also quite interesting. Like one of the shows we mentioned how there's an Anglo-sized version of Patna, like there was an Anglo-sized version of Mumbai.
Yeah, last show.
Yeah, there's a polo road, there's a circular road, and so on and so on. These were individuals who used to govern during the British Raj. There's a road named after them. So there's an Anglo-sized version of Patna also. Regarding the caste thing, I'll just add one thing. One addition to what Sir said. Bihar is seen through the prism of caste a bit too much also, if I may add. caste is there in Karnataka also, caste is there in Gujarat also, caste is there in Maharashtra also, caste is there in Delhi also, caste is there in Uttar Pradesh also. I think for some odd reason, during those 5-10 years of the 90s, because the main issues were regarding caste
So it is
itself,
that
it is
influence.
that perception that there is only caste.
Is that influence?
Yes, and it is entrenched in the system. The caste system is there.
It is entrenched in the bureaucracy,
Yeah,
the
but
police
it's
force,
everywhere.
the,
It's
the
why
administration.
it's quite unfortunate that only Bihar gets to know through its caste system only, whereas Maharashtra or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu or Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh does not get to know about its caste system.
But you attribute it to what happened in the 90s.
I attribute a lot to what happened to the 90s because in the name of social justice, which was indeed required, I'm not making two bones about it, it was indeed required social justice. But did that social justice really happen is a question for everyone to answer.
Point well taken.
And,
I
this
think
happened.
we will delve into those issues in our next show.
If I just may ask and request Nikhil sir to, because we did doing this show on Bihar's history, I just request Nikhil sir just share 2 episodes. One was of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru regarding the land abolition because there's a very Bihar connection to this.
Right.
Since I'm a student of law and
You mean Zamindari rights?
Yes.
Okay.
Bihar has a very good connection to this as to why this was a fundamental right to property.
Right.
And how this was abolished. And if I may request Nikhil sir just to put light on that story. It's a very famous story. And if you just request Nikhil sir just to share that.
It was sometime, I think, in 1949 that Jawaharlalji visited Bihar for a function in Darbhanga. Now, those days, the Prime Minister had, as compared to nowadays, a little more time. So when he finished with his program, he expressed a desire to see North Bihar. And arrangements were made for him to travel by road. And during his travel, he noticed that large swaths of land belonged to one or just 2 people.
1 or 2 people controlling large amount of land.
He was horrified. In fact, he almost felt scandalized. He said that this won't do. There has to be Zamindari abolition. And he came back to Patna and addressed the Bihar cabinet in a very special way that you absolutely must get rid of Zamindari. And that had its effect. And the very first amendment to the Indian Constitution was because of the Zamindari abolition in Bihar. Yes, that was Jawaharlal's. He was horrified. He go traveling miles after miles after miles, and he found that the land on either side of the road belonged to just 1 or 2 families.
Of kilometers together.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting anecdote. Maybe in our next show we could speak more on law and order because I think that is what squarely falls into Mr. Nikhil Kumar's ambit. He's done it his whole life and you're a lawyer so you could bring in light.
I'll also just add one more thing. My grandfather looked to 2 persons specifically during his early political days. Since Sir is here, so I thought it's apt that I should mention this. One is Sir's grandfather and the other is Shri Babu.
Right.
Both pioneers in leading Bihar into what it was in the early 50s, 60s,
So
70s.
I think with this we are doing our 3rd show on Bihar. I think we would need to do one more show with you. So we'll request your time where we'll look into 3-4 specific issues and discuss that at lunch. But I would like to thank you for your time. I would like to thank Weber for joining me. So today we conclude our 3rd series on Bihar Today, Bihar Tomorrow. The earlier 2 series you saw Justice Shivkirti Singh and another illustrious IPS officer Yashwardhan Jha Azad. He also joined us on our last show. This time, of course, we had Mr. Nikhil Kumar, who's also an IPS like Mr. Yashwardhan Jha Azad. It was indeed a pleasure talking to him and Vaibhav, and I sort of enjoyed doing this series and look forward to do my next show on this, talking of Bihar Today, Bihar Tomorrow, with of course some new tales of development that Vaibhav will bring in and a lot of discussion, law and order too. Appreciate your joining us. Thank you so very much.